Hello guys, welcome back to the full stack web development course. So in the previous lecture, we have done the backend part of the authentication as well as we have integrated the backend part with the front end thing. So this is what we have done. Let me just go to the login page as well as let me just log in with my mail ID at gmail.com like so and with a password. So let me just log in. So now we have logged in, but if you just go to the inspect page as well as we will go to the we will just go to the application. In there we will just go to the local storage which we have used. So you can see here is a token as well as a user with a mail which I have provided and the hash password as well as a token is also there. So it means we have successfully logged in as well as let me just open my MongoDB here. I believe it's cloud.mongodb.com. So So now the MongoDB is getting logged in. So let me just come here. You can see we have logged in. So this is our original website where we have deployed in our application Amplify. So let me just go here and log in here also with mail ID and the password. So if I logged in here, so let me just do it again. So if I logged in the original deployed application, you can see now the navbar changes to an avatar which routes to our profile page as well as we also got a logout button which helps us to log out. So we have to do those things while I have logged inside the web page. So that's how we will be able to know that the user has been logged in. So our MongoDB is ready now in here. So we will wait for that. We will explore the data as well later. So now we will just do this thing. We will do something in the navbar. So let me just go to the code now. So let me just open the client side where we will just have to go to the navbar. So here's the navbar. We'll just go to that. Let me just close this. So now we are inside the navbar. So you can see our app is running in port 3000, which is the React part, as well as the backend is running in 5000. So now let me just close both of this. So in here we have to change this. We have to give a value for this user. So that's why it throws here. So sorry, it didn't throw an error. So that's why it didn't show the avatar as well as the logout button. So since we want to do that, we can give some value to the user, like we can just say JSON dot parse of local storage. Since our data is already available in the local storage, we have to get the data from there with a get item method of the prop is gonna be like profile, because which is the word we have provided to that variable. So let me just go to the Google again. Let me just open the inspect element, and in there we will just go to the application, and in that you can see here the key which I have provided is nothing but a profile. So that's what I am just retrieving from the local storage. I'm just getting an item from the local storage with the key of profile, and I'm just going to pass it as JSON. So that's what I have done in this line. So if you just go to this web page now, so now you can see our avatar button as well as the logout button is available. You can see the avatar as well as the logout button. So now there is another issue. So if we want to use this, so let me just so if we want to use this value throughout this, since we use the user value many times in the throughout the application, we don't want to just leave it like this. If we want to use it somewhere else in the app also, we have to keep on get the data from the local storage. We don't want to do that, so that we can do something like we can just get the value from the local storage particularly only one time, and we can just put it, we can just dispatch that value in the redux, so that we can get that value from redux whenever we want. So that's what we're gonna do. So to do that, what we can do, we can just go to the actions, and in the actions we do have our auth action. So this is the action which we have used in the previous lecture to log in as well as sign up. So we can here, after dispatching the data to the redux, we can do something like we can just say before navigating the home page, what we can say, we can just say dispatch of, in here we can dispatch the data to the redux. So to dispatch, you can see we do need to have a function in here. So if we go to the, so let me just go to the auth page. In the pages, we do got the auth. In the auth, you can see here we have dispatched an action. Sign up here is an action. So in here also we have to dispatch. If we want to dispatch something, it is gonna be like an action, which is gonna be a function. So we will create another action called current user. Set current, sorry, we will just name it as current user .js, and in here what we can do, we can just write a action. So we can just write a function export const set current user. So this action is going to be used to set a value for this current user, which is going to be equal to an arrow function with the prop of data, and we will just return something like type is gonna be fetch underscore current underscore user. So and the data is gonna be, the payload is gonna be data. So what I have done, to use this data, we have to create another page in the reducer, which is going to be named as current user itself. Sorry, we will just give a small c current user .js itself, and in here what we can do, we have to create a reducer for that current user, particular current user. So in here I am just going to have a current user reducer, so which is going to be equal to the state of null. So since the state can be empty, if you want to provide the state value as empty, you have to provide it as a null. It shouldn't be any empty values, so it has to be assigned to any value, so it could be null also. And then the second thing is nothing but the action, and this is going to be an arrow function. So in here, as usual, we will have a switch statement with the action type. So it's like all the things like we have seen in the previous lecture itself. So the case is gonna be, so what case we have used in the action. The case is like fetch current user. So we'll just copy this and we will paste it down. So if the action type equals fetch current user, what we're gonna do, we're just going to return the action dot payload. So this is nothing but the payload which we have sent here. You can see the data which we have passed to this set current user action is nothing but renamed as a payload, and we are just sending that payload to a reducer. And in here, if that reducer action type matches this fetch current user, we're just returning that particular payload. And here is gonna be a default case which just gonna return state. So that's it, we have completed this current user reducer. So now we have to combine this reducer. If you remember, this combine reducer, you have to combine that thing. So we will import that reducer also. So we have just combined those reducers, which is, so it shows some error, I think so. It's like we didn't export the current user reducer yet, so we will just export that current user reducer like so. So now we'll just close this, and in the, in the index, we have just imported that and we have combined both the reducer. So now what we can do, we can use this action in the auth, like sign up and login action. We will use this particular action and we will pass the data to the reducer and we will store it in the Redux store. So that's what we're gonna, that's the core concept is gonna be behind this. So this dispatch, what we're gonna just dispatch is, we just going to dispatch a function set current user. So you can see it is has been imported set current user, and in here the data which we gonna pass is nothing but json dot parse, which is gonna be from this navbar. So here we have already entered that. So now let me just copy this. So let me just paste it here. So now we have passed the data. Data is nothing but the current user's details. So we are just setting that current user through this current user action, and this action passes the data to the reducer where the data is being stored in the Redux. So now we have successfully stored the data. So how now we will just retrieve the data, where we will be just retrieving that data, particular data. So we will retrieve the data in the navbar.jsx, don't worry. We will, because we have to use the data particularly here, we have to assign that value to the user itself. To do that, we're going to use another hook called use selector. So it's going to be imported as import use selector from Redux, and we have to just replace these things with the use selector, and it's gonna take a parameter of state, and in the state we're just going to select dot current user reducer. So where this current user reducer comes from, this is nothing but the current user's reducer, this thing. So what we return here will be used in here. That's what use selector use. It just selects the data from the Redux. So we do have many state. State is nothing but store where the data has been stored. This is called a state. So in that state we have to select the particular reducer, which is nothing. In this case it's going to be a current user reducer, which has the data, sorry, details of the current user. So that's what we have to select. So now we will go to the browser. So now it is not even here because we have to delete this and we have to log in this again. So we will say Manoj at Gmail and the password is going to be like Manoj, and we will just do an enter. So now you can see our avatar as well as the login button is visible. So by using this method, by using this line, you can access the user data from anywhere in the application. So this is how we have to access data from the Redux by using use selector hook. So now here is a bug. If you see, let me just refresh. You can see this has to go off. So you can see the avatar and the logout button has went, but the data is still in the profile itself. It is in the local storage. So to fix this issue, what we can do, we're just going to use another hook called dispatch. Sorry, we will just import the same thing in here itself. Use dispatch. So inside we also gonna have use effect, which I have explained what is the use effect in the basics lecture itself. So what we can do, we just going to have the use effect. So what use effect does, it just creates a side effect which is going to be helpful for us to. So whenever this navbar is in the app, the navbar is visible in the browser, it's just gonna run this side effect. It's just going to have what we're gonna do. So why this error occurs? As I refresh, the page turns into a new login page, but we do have the data here. So this is because if we go to the auth.js action, you can see at the time of login only it just dispatches the value. After logging in, so if I just refresh, after logging in, it won't just dispatch the value. So to do that, what we can do, we will just create a side effect, and this side effect is like a function which will be run whenever this navbar is visible in the browser. So this navbar is going to be visible in all the pages of our browser. So that's why I have used the use effect in this navbar particularly. So inside the use effect, what we're gonna say, we're just going to dispatch. So we'll just create a variable first for this dispatch as. So we'll go up here, we'll just say const dispatch, which is going to be equal to use dispatch, and we will just dispatch that data to the set current user. So we will use the action called set current user, and the data has to be passed is nothing but the json dot parse of local storage, and which is gonna be dot get item of profile. So that's it. So now, so here in this dependency array we can pass certain values like dispatch. So whenever this dispatch may occur, it will call the dispatch and this dispatch will be executed. That's what this means. So now you can see whether irrespective of my refreshing thing, this thing will be appear here. So Whenever this navbar is inside this application, a side effect will be created. In that side effect, we will just keep on pushing that value to the redux, and we will just retrieve that value by using a use selector hook. So that's what we just going to do. So which is a best and a good idea. So now what we will just delete all, close all these files, and we will collapse this. And the next thing we're just going to concentrate on is nothing but this ask question. So let's just close this. This ask question is the next thing which we are going to concentrate on. So first we will complete the backend of this ask question, and then we will come to the integrating part of the front end. So now we will go to the server. First we have to create a model for that particular question. So just give me a minute. So first we have to create a model for that question. To We have to create a schema for that, for a question in the database. As we have created something for the auth, we have created a name, email, password, like the record what we're gonna store. As some, like we have to do it also for the question also. So it's like what are the data we are gonna be stored in the schema for question. So mongoose, we will just input mongoose first from uh, mongoose, and we just going to have const question schema, which is gonna be equal to mongoose dot schema, and in that it is gonna be an object. Inside that object, first we will have something like uh, question title, which is gonna be the basic thing for our question, and the type is gonna be string, and required, it's gonna be question must have a title. Since a question must have a title in the questions page, so if you gonna go here, we do have three things like title, body, and tags for a particular question, and these things are completely necessary for a question to be accessed by a user. So we do have question must have a title, like that. So we will copy this for 3 times, and we will change the value like question body. The second thing is nothing with the question body. It's also gonna be a string, and here we'll just change it as a body. And next thing is gonna be tags. So tags is nothing but a string of arrays. So we do have a lot of tags for a particular question. So it's like tags here. So the next thing is gonna be number of answers for that particular question, number of answers for that particular question, and its type is gonna be a number, type is going to be a number, and the default is going to be 0. By default there is no answer for a question, and if an answer is provided, then it will be changed accordingly. The next thing is nothing but upvote and downvote for a particular question. Upvote is like it's like a like to a question, and downvote is like a dislike for that particular question, and the type is gonna be string of arrays. So you may think upvote is nothing but a number, but to handle that we gonna need a array of strings. So I will explain that when we come to the upvote part. So we as of now just assume it is a string of arrays, and by default the array is gonna be empty. So let me just copy this and paste it another time. So this time it's gonna be downvote. The next thing we're gonna have is nothing but user posted, which is gonna be type of string. So this is nothing but the name of the user who has posted, and so it is by default is required because a question will have an author. So that's what it means, question must have an author. And then the next thing is gonna be user ID, which is nothing but the ID of the specified user. I will tell what this user ID means. So this user ID is nothing but, we will go to the database, we will go to the explore data, we are inside the explore data. You can see this is not this ID, you can see this is nothing but the ID of the user Manoj Kumar. So the name Manoj Kumar has an ID which is nothing but randomly generated by the MongoDB. So this is the ID for this particular user. So we will go here now, we'll just come here. So this ID is nothing but its type is also gonna be string. So then we can have something like posted on, so which is nothing but the time when the user has posted that particular content, and the type is gonna be date, comma default is gonna be date dot now. So the posted on is nothing but the same like in the odd.js we do have something like joined on. So it has the same value. This is not gonna be filled by us. It's just by default gonna be filled by the MongoDB. We don't want to worry about that. The next thing is gonna be like answer, which is nothing but the answer which is provided by the users of this application. So answer is like an array of objects. We do have a lot of things inside for a particular answer. It's gonna just have array of objects, and in one object we're gonna have a body for that answer. So we will just name that as answer body, and this we will have a string, and then we will have a user answer. This is nothing but the answer which is provided by a particular user, and we will just have that name for them. And the next thing is nothing but the user ID, which is nothing but the ID of the user who has answered. It's also going to be a string. And the next thing is nothing but answered on, which is nothing but the time of which the user has. So it's like the posted time, it is nothing but the answered time. The same thing, we will just copy this particular thing, we will paste it here. So that's it. This is the entire schema which is going to be used by us. So we'll just export this schema mongoose.model of, just going to have a question, comma question schema. We'll just name this model as a question, and the schema is going to be question schema, which is nothing but this thing. So you can see this entire thing is similar to what we have used in the home main bar. So if I go down here in the home main bar, you can see we have a lot of things. So this is like an id, upvote and a downvote, and a number of answers, question title, question body, question tags, user posted, user id, asked on. So we will just change this post on as an asked on, so like that. And then there is an answer is an array of objects, and in the objects we have elements like answer body, user answered, answered on, and user id, which are the same things what we get in here also. So now we will just close that, and we will close this client now. For comparison, I have talked about that. So now we will close this question, and we will close this too, and we will create a route first. So the route is going to be named as questions.js, and in here we're just going to have, we will import that express first from express itself, and in here I'm just going to import the ask question. So these things are be this is nothing but the controllers what we are going to just import. As of now there is no controller, so first we will just import the model. Sorry, we don't need the model even here. Let me just comment this, and we'll just create a const router. This router is going to be equal to express dot router, and the next thing is going to be router dot post, which is going to be slash ask. This post request is going to be used to ask a question. So in here we'll just have a function called ask question. This is nothing but, this ask question is nothing but a controller which we have to import it from the controller. So we'll just say ask question from dot slash controller slash ask question. So we have to create this ask question, sorry, questions file, and in the questions we will have that ask questions function. So now we have to create that particular questions.js, and in that we will have a individual export. The function goes like this: const ask question, which is going to be equal to an array of request comma res, and this is also going to be an await, because it does some asynchronous actions. So this is going to be it. So here it throws an error, expected colon. So we will go here. So now this function is nothing but imported from this patients.js, which is nothing but NCD controllers. Now we have to include this route in the index.js file. So we will go to that particular file. So it's like we have already imported the user route. So like we have to import the question route. So this is gonna be questions. So we have to import that particular question route. So it's going to be import question routes from dot slash controller slash questions. Sorry, this is like, it's not the controller, it's nothing but the routes slash questions, and in the question inside the routes we do have something like, so we have to export this particular route. So to export that, we're just going to say export default router. So this router we have just exported that, and in here we have just imported that route as a question route, and we have provided that route in here. So we have to change the name. So like so we have changed that. So we have provided the route for localhost slash 5000 slash questions slash ask, which is gonna be the route for asking a question. So now we will close this function, sorry, file, and this file also. So now we have to do everything inside this questions controller. So now first we will just import questions from dot slash models slash questions, which is nothing but or. So I think I have left this chase many places. So let me just go and rectify that error, so that it may also choose errors. So this is nothing but .js. So in the index file also we have to do .js. So don't mess with this .js, just do it correctly. So we have imported that particular model, and also we gonna need the mongoose. So just ignore these things. So this is not await, this is nothing but async. That's what this error is throwing many times. This is an asynchronous function since we are dealing with the database. So this could be asynchronous. So and then we do have to till const post question, which is gonna be equal to request dot body. So what we do send in the request is nothing but the title, body as well as the tags. These strings will be mandatorily present in this request which we send from the front end to the back end, and we will just store all the values in the post question. And then what we can do, we will create a const. So we will just name this as a question data, and we can do const post question, which is going to be equal to new questions of the so far value of the post question data, and we will do include another value called user id, which we will just retrieve it from the request dot user id. So what I have done here, I have created a new object for this question model, which is nothing but I will pass the entire question data which we have retrieved from the front end, and I will pass that value along with the user ID of the request. This user ID is nothing but the ID of the particular user who has posted that particular question. So this is gonna contain all the question data, and this is gonna have that user ID. So we will create a new object for this questions model. So now we will create a try catch block, and in here first we will just say await post question dot save. So since we have created a new object for this question database, we have to save that object in the MongoDB. So that's what we have done. We have just saved it, and then we will, if it is successfully saved, we will just send a status code of 200, and we will just send with a JSON data of posted a question successfully. So if there is an error during this meantime, we will catch that error and we will just console dot log that error for our reference. This is gonna be console log error, and we will send an error message to the front end as res.status of 409, which means we couldn't post the data successfully, and in the JSON we will send a message like couldn't post a new question, like so. So that's it for the backend of asking a question. So what we have done, we just received the data, and as we have received the data, we will just pass it. We will create a new question object, and we will just save it in the MongoDB, and we will send a successful message to the backend, sorry, to the front end. If there is an error in the meantime, we will just send it to the front end also. So that's it. Now we will just jump directly into the front end, and we will integrate everything. So now let me just close this, and let me just collapse everything, and we will create a client. Sorry, in the client we will go to the particular ask question page. So where it is in here. So let me just close this. And in here, first we have to get the data, as we have done in the previous form, in the sign up and login form also. How we have get the data from the input tag, we will just use on change event handler. So first we will do that. So to do that, we will first have to import the use state. So first I have to create const question title, comma, set question. So here is a typo, I have missed a T. Set question title, which is gonna be equal to use state of a null value, which is nothing but an empty string. So let me just copy this 3 times. So in here I'm just going to select this multiple times, and we will change as body, sorry, and we will go here. So we will just select this correctly, and we will eliminate these things, and we will just say tags. So that's it. So we have created 3 use state variables for title, body, and tags. So now we have to get that, we have to retrieve that particular value from this form. So what we can say, we will say something like on change event handler, and in that we will get that event, and we will then pass that event to set question title of we will pass the value of e dot target dot value, which which is nothing but e dot target dot value has the value of this input, and whenever it is changed we will pass that value to the set question title, so that we can be used to using this question title. So let me just copy this 2 times and paste it down here, also in here. So now we will change this to body, and in here we will just change this to tags. So that's it, we have done pretty much. And here we will just have an on submit event handler, which is going to be equal to handle submit as well, and we will write a handle submit function. So this function is going to be const handle submit is going to be equal to an arrow function. It's just going to have, first we will just have e dot prevent default, which is going to prevent default things which I have mentioned in the previous lecture. Will prevent e dot prevent, so we have to pass this event here, so that's how we can access it in here. So the next thing is nothing but we have to dispatch the entire data, which is nothing but question title, body and tags. So we have to pass that entire data. So before doing that, we will just console log the data, console dot log of console of the data. Nothing but gonna be, we'll just copy this and we'll just console log it as an object body, and we'll do the same thing, and this time it's gonna be tags. So now we will go to the web page, we will open the console log, and in the log we will go to the console. So there's nothing in the console as of now. You just have a title, have a random value in the tags also. So now let me just hit enter. So now you can see we got body, tags and title. So you can see the tags, we need this tag to be an array of strings. So to do that, what we can do, we will just go down here, and before passing this value, this is an entire string you can see, and in this entire string what you can do, so we will split this string with an empty space. So wherever a space occurs, we will just split that string and we will just put everything as an array. So that's what this function does. So we will see what happens. Again we will view our question. So now, so nothing happens as of now. So let's just go again. So I think here is an error. So now let me just review again. So it is the same thing. So let me just refresh the page. We will give some random values. So you can see now in the console log we got an array of values. So that's what in here we have. So we have to provide the tags with space, with the space. So that's what. So that's how we can get the arrays as tags. So we do have some other problem also. So in the text area, if I give an enter and type something and review my question, you can see in the console log, in the question body, everything is in the same line, but even it has a slash and a n, even it has a slash and a n, which means backslash and a n, it means it has to be entered to another line, but it won't behave like that. Since this is a text area, we have to add something while we have enter, we have providing an enter. So to do while we display that, so let me just display this somewhere in the web page itself. So we will go down here, and in the, we can just say an h1 tag, and inside that let me just say question body. So first we will just display that. So now, question is not defined, so it shows question is not defined because, but in here I have used the question body, so the same thing. So let me just refresh. So in here let me just type something. So you can see, even I give an enter, there is nothing. You can see there is, so just to showcase I am just printing this value here, but we don't print the value in here. So let me just do it again. So I can just say this is a text area. So there is no difference between an enter and a space. You can see here, this and is between that I have provided an enter, but there is no enter, you can see. So to do rectify this thing, we have to do some code. So to do that, what we can do, we will go to the text area. So this is the text area. We will handle that text area with on key press event handler. So there is an event handler called on key press. So this is going to be equal to handle enter, which is going to be a function. We will write that function now. So on key press is nothing but an event. Whenever a key is pressed in the keyboard, this on key press will detect that there is a key, the key has been pressed. So it will just call this function, and in this function what we can do, we will just handle the enter. So since there is, we are not getting an enter, we have to handle that enter. So let me just have this again. So in here what we can do, if we will just check a condition here, first we will pass this event, and here we will just first check that condition. If e dot key is nothing but the key which we have entered, in the keyboard. Key is nothing but if h is pressed in the keyboard, so now the key will contain the value of h. So if enter is pressed in the keyboard, then e will have a value of, sorry, e dot key will have a value of enter. So to do that, we will have enter. So if that key equals to enter, what we can do, we will just set the question body as question body plus backslash n. So we are just providing that backslash n statically. So now let me just refresh. So it won't work even if now. So let me just see, it won't work even if now, but this trick will work when I'm just displaying this. So I have to display that in here. You can see in here I have to display the entire thing. So this is going to be the body for a particular function, so we have to display that here. So that time it will work, definitely it will work. So we will see that what it is going to be in here while we are coming to this part. So now we will just jump into here. So we will go down. Now let me just remove this tag. So we will leave everything as the same thing. So in the handle submit, we do have to add, we have to dispatch this value to the backend. So to do that, We will first write an action for dispatching the value. So we will write a action which is going to be used to dispatch. So first let me just import dispatch. Import dispatch. Sorry. Use dispatch. Which is going to be inside. Is import use dispatch from this is going to be from React Redux. So now what we can do, we also gonna need navigate. So as soon as we have sorry so as soon as so wait, we will first complete this or else it will show keep on throwing an error. We'll import use navigate, which is also in hook which we have used many times, which is going to be imported from React Router DOM. So and then we also gonna need use selector. I will tell you why we are using use selector here. So first we will create variables for all the things. Const use dispatch. So let me just clear this and also clear this, and then const. So we will also use user, which is going to be equal to use selector. So we have already done this thing in the nav bar. So here is a typo, and in the use selector we'll just give the state, which is going to be equal to state dot current user reducer. So this thing we have already done in the nav bar itself. So it shows some error, expected assignment of function called. So I think this is a parenthesis, so that's why it shows an error. So now we got the user also, and then we have to use this navigate, which is going to be equal to this navigate. Sorry, use navigate. I believe use navigate. So now we will use this dispatch. Just close this, and inside the dispatch first we have to write. So let me just explain why we are using navigate. So as soon as I post this question, we are inside the ask question page, we have to be routed to the home page. So this is where the question has to be posted, so that's why we are using this navigate, as we have done something in the auth page. So we have routed after authentication, we have routed to the home page. So the same thing we are also going to do here also. So so in the dispatch we have to write an action. So let me just import that action first. So since we don't have the action yet, we will create that action. That action is going to be ask question. So but the file name I will just leave it as question dot dot js, and from this question I'm just going to have an array of C. So this is like going to be an ask question function, and let me just copy this, and we will just import that as question gonna be from. So this is not a default export, this is an individual export. So this is going to be from dot slash action slash questions. So we will just use this dispatch to dispatch all the values. So the same thing only keep on repeat. So the same methodology what we used and the author will keep on repeating. So that's what we want to do now also. We will dispatch that and we will pass the question data as an object. So in this object, first thing is gonna be the question title, and the next thing is gonna be the question body, and the next thing is gonna be question tags, and the next thing is gonna be the user who has posted, user posted. So that's why I have you selected the current user data from, and I have stored the value in the user. So this is going to be user dot result dot name. So in the user we got a result and a token, and in the result we have something like the name, which is going to be the user posted, and we will pass the navigate in here. This is just going to be used to navigate to the home page. So now we have pretty much done in this page. So now let me just go to the Redux page, sorry, in the actions page. So in here what we just going to do, so first we will just import all the API. So we have to first write the API now, since that's what we have done in the previous lecture also. We have wrote the ratios in the API folder, dot slash API. So in the API, so I have left a from here. So in the API we will just first write export const, sorry, it's gonna be for post question. This is gonna be equal to, there's gonna be question data which we are gonna pass the title, values, all the things. The next thing is gonna be API dot post, which is the request we have written in the backend also, and then we just going to have slash questions slash, sorry, here's a typo. So we have to correct with this spelling, because this is nothing but the URL to which we are going to send the request. So this has to be the same URL which we have given in the backend also, slash ask, and then we will pass the question data as a body. So you can see we have passed that value also, and then we will use that in here. So before using that, so what are the things we are passing to this ask question? We are passing this entire thing, which is gonna be the question data, and as well as we are passing the navigate. So here you just have question data comma navigate. So this is gonna be equal to dispatch asynchronous dispatch, which, because we're just dealing with the backend, this function has to be asynchronous. Since we are really dealing with thunk, we has to be use dispatch also. So here is a typo, I think so. Here we do need to have a T. So this still has an error because we don't need a return statement here. So here we will just have a try catch block first, and inside the try we will just have const data, which is nothing but the data received from the backend. So first we will send the request, which is going to be await API dot post a question, which is gonna pass a value called post question data. So this calls the function inside this post question, and this is gonna have the data, and we will just pass it as a body post question data, and and what we're gonna do, we're just going to dispatch this to a reducer with a type is gonna be of post underscore question, and the data is not, the payload is nothing but data. So it shows an error here, expected colon, it shows like, so we will first complete this. So it's like we have done everything and we have dispatched it, and then we will say navigate off, we will just say a single slash, we will just navigate to the home page, and in the catch block what we can do, we'll just say console.log the error which has been thrown in the meantime. So now we have pretty much done everything. I don't know why this question is keep on asking. It's like users for most action slash question. So where we have imported this as question in here, this is like ask question, and this is also the same thing, post question, which is in here, post question, which is also the same thing, question data. So let me just do a copy paste. Here is nothing with the data which we are passing into the backend. For question.js, shows like expected colon. I don't know what it expects. Dispatch. So let me just open this. So it's the same thing what I have used. So we can just copy this entire thing. So let me just paste. If there is an error, it should have been rectified. So now it has been. So this is because I have provided a wrong spelling here, a typo. This is nothing but the async. So now we are pretty much done in the front end also. So the last thing which is missing is nothing but in the reducers we have to create a questions.js file, and in that questions.js file we have to write a questions reducer, and this is going to be const questions reducer, which is going to be equal to of state. So it's like, I believe there should be a colon, and this is going to be equal to data of null. This is going to be an action, and in here, so here's a typo. So and in here we do need to have a switch case, and the key is going to be action dot type. So now in our case, you can see if we go here, we have used a type of post question. So we have to use that particular action dot type in here. We'll just put it in a colon, and after posting the question, we will just return the state, comma, data, which is going to be action, sorry, which is going to be action dot payload. So this action dot payload is nothing but which we have sent in here. So that's it. That's what this means. So this is nothing but here we will just by default we will just return states. So you can see we have pretty much done the question reducer also. Now we will just copy this and we will put it inside the combined reducer import from dot slash. I think it is questions.js. So that's it. So I think it is not exported. I believe it is not exported. So let's just go to that thing and we'll just export default as questions reducer. So that's it. We have done the front end. I will explain again. So we are getting the data and we will pass that data in the form. We will just dispatch that and we will use this as question. We will just send a to the backend. We will just drive it as a response. We will just push it to the Redux. So it will be sorry in here. We will just pour in. It will be stored in the post question. In this questions reducer, it will be stored. So we may access it from anywhere in the app. So now we will just try it. Does this actually work? Or it shows any error. Question is not defined. In the so now everything is perfect as of now. So now we will just ask a question. Is this a function? And here yes, it is a function. And in here we'll just say function space java space javascript. So we will ask a question. So now it shows an error, so which is related to this navbar. So don't mind it. We will go here. So we will refresh this. We will see is the day schema has been created. And so you can see a schema has been created. We'll go to that. And in that, is there any record? So here we go. We got a record, which is nothing but is this a function? Yes, it is a function, and it also has the tags, all the tags which I have given. There is no answer for this currently, and there is no upvote and downvote as well. And the user posted is nothing but myself, and the answer is also null as of now. And we do have a timer also. So that's it guys for this video. So in the next lecture we will see how to put that value in the UI. So we will retrieve this data from the backend and we will put that thing in the UI. So as of now in this lecture we have sent a question to the backend and we have stored it in the database. So in the next lecture we will retrieve the data and we will display it in the home page, as well as we will have functions like how to answer that question, and we will be able to share and delete that particular question, and we will be able to upvote and downvote that particular question. So in the next lecture we will see all the things. So thank you.